Stop the cap.
That's a bit of a crude but very true remark. Think of all those white men, the 9-to-5ers, working very hard every day, trying to be good people, maintaining society, keeping everything going, being taxpayers and good providers to the women folk, and then to be faced with such an onslaught of a fairly large portion of white women who apparently appear to be totally fine having a black critter and being a single mom, which effectively is the total betrayal of everything white men have ever done for you. I mean, white women for the past 500 years have been the wealthiest, richest women in human history, and apparently that's not enough to win, I don't know, loyalty and love. Because effectively, if too many women just want to do the dickie in the club bathroom with Duante and his friends, then I think I know where this is going, because white men, of course, are not going to put up with that indefinitely. If it becomes too extreme, some things will change, and I'm thinking along the following lines.
No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought or why we died. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
I don't want to have to keep repeating myself, but I think that this is a necessary public service announcement to the black community, black men in particular. I don't want to make a whole feature-length video on this topic because I've already covered it numerous times in numerous other videos. I get these videos that come in my timeline every so often. I think some of it has to do with the fact that I like them and I save them so that I can go back to them. But I think it's kind of a good thing because this highlights and reinforces what I've been saying, okay? Because people will sit there and they'll act like, you're just making some shit up or you're exaggerating. The videos are always more effective when you have the actual video evidence that you're pointing to in the video. You know what I mean? Like it's beneficial to do it that way. But first things first, okay, I'm dead ass serious when I say this, black men. You need to be strapped up at all times. At all times, as this, economy takes a nosedive and weak-ass, bitch-ass white men can't handle it because now it's affecting their, sense of positive male identity. And, they want to reclaim their manhood by, creating boogeymen all over the place, choosing and picking weak targets, right? And, trying to assert, their white supremacy that they feel that they're losing, all the white privileges and whatnot. They feel that they're losing it. So doing things like trying to control black bodies, questioning you, just for being in the park or walking your dog or trying to enforce some obscure rule, that's them trying to regain their power. That's them trying to, gain a sense of control in a world where they feel that they're losing control. Hold on a second. Let me take a sip. So you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. Okay? Because one of these stupid motherfuckers are gonna try it. Just plain and simple. Just like this video by what's his name? It's like it's like OG Matt. This was like From the Streets or something like that. He got an Instagram channel. He just did a video on, there was a white female Karen that attacked a black man that was waving a fuck Trump flag. And she smacked the phone out of his hand and he put her on her ass and then hit her with the damn flag. And I think she's the one that ended up getting arrested because it was on, not only on camera on his phone, but it was being filmed by somebody else, and, one of those situations where, how dare you disagree with me? and, just the general way that they feel about black people, right? Despite the fact that everything that black people try to do it results in helping everybody. But white people's racism and sense of superiority is so like thick, that, black people, shouldn't really waste their time trying to help them. Even though that's not really our intended goal. Our intended goal is to help ourselves, but it's like white people, like, they don't recognize, where they actually are, like what their actual position is. Like I said, the white elites have done a masterful job of just the absolute brainwash of your average white American proletariat. I mean, the propaganda, you know what I mean? I mean, white supremacy was literally created to get white people to go out there and engage in manifest destiny. White supremacy was created, in the, what would that be? The 16th century, right? Would that be no, not 16th. The what is it? 14th century or 15th century? I forget. It's like it's like one. No, so 19. Wait, so the 1900s. That's the 20th century. So the 1500s would be the 16th century. So in the 16th century, okay, which is basically, at the end of when the Moors got kicked out of Europe and Spain, right? And they kicked out the little hats, right? Then 1492 happened, and then they left Europe and they went around the world globetrotting. Had they stayed their ass in Europe, they wouldn't be having any of the problems that they're having now and complaining about immigrants and everything. If you want an empire, there's going to be other people around the world that are not white. And this highlights the fact that, again, white people, they literally want other groups of people to service them. They see themselves as like some sort of like the managerial race. I had a comment that a white supremacist left in my comment section, claiming that, that white people are the managerial race because they have their opinions about how other people run their societies and whatnot, right? Completely ignoring all of the meddling that goes on, like literally undermining and undercutting progress in other countries so that they can continue to exploit them, for, labor and resources and all that stuff, right? Manipulations of currencies, right? The removal of dictators or even the putting in of dictators that are friendly to Western powers. They've been doing this shit. Okay, but the white elites, prior to the, the 1500s, there was no remotely even a concept of some sort of unified, homogenous white culture or white society or white race. That really didn't even evolve, until, it happened in the 1500s, but when they started creating their hierarchy of races, once they discovered the new worlds out there, and then they were trying to run around Christianizing people and everything like that. But damn, what was I gonna say? But yeah, the white elites, they've just done, just the chef's kiss of brainwashing the white proletariat to think, that they're really a part of this machine called white supremacy, when again, it's always been about classism. They are the peasants. They are the serfs. Okay. They are the proletariat. They are not white elites. But because they aspire to be white elites, the illusion of inclusion, the illusion of upward mobility, that one day they can go up there and be there. That's why they're so pissed off at Meghan Markle. They're like, who the fuck is this mixed half-breed bitch? How the fuck does she get to be a part of the royal family? That's what all that shit was, all that anger. It challenged, what was the video that I did? It challenged the image that they had in their head, of what a princess is supposed to be. You see? And so working class whites, they got it real bad. They got it so bad. And it's very effective. Like even when the white immigrants that were never really considered white, Like the Irish they were always shit on. The Italians, they were always shit on. Look up Sacco and Vanzetti, right? They were always shit on. All these other white people, all these non-Anglos, you know what I mean? Like they weren't fucked with. And again, the irony is that the Third Reich structured its whole military apparatus after the freaking Romans, which weren't even considered white in the 20th century when they first came to America. People were treating them like others and, talking about, I mean, they would even put it in the lines of movies, talking about how they got, raped by the Moors and Hannibal and all this other shit, right? And so they got a little bit of nigga in them, right? And like Southern Italians versus like the Northern Italians that are closer to like the Swiss border and shit like that, right? But, and this is the whole problem. This is why it's not even CRT that white people need. White people need an actual real history lesson. They do not know history. They do not know their own history. And it creates this problem where they engage in fantasy, about who they are, what they're about, what their cultural identity is. They're being manipulated by their own elites to buy into all these bullshit identities of white people. They should be ruling the world and freaking like, it's like the white elites just make them like honorary deputies. And for a long time, they were sharing the spoils of rape, pillage, and plunder the world over. They were sharing that shit with them. Okay? And now they're not. Like the idea that somehow all the other races were never going to not be colonized, and that they were never going to gain control over their land and their resources and their infrastructure, right? And demand, a better deal or a better interaction, with Western powers. Like it's so stupid because it's like now it's like everybody who's not white, like basically hates white people. When white people created that themselves, they could have went in there and had like, honest, amicable, agreements of trade and everything. No, not white people though. White people, they got that Cronus complex. They got to be the best. They got to be on top. They got to dominate, rape, pillage, and plunder, all that shit. Right. And here's the crazy thing. Like, I'm like, white men are very funny because like what this white man is saying in the video, like when he brought up the point, like we've given white women, such and such a lifestyle. Yeah. At the expense of everybody else on the fucking planet. Right. And I don't let white women off the hook because white women try to get off the hook because, white women will say that they don't like white patriarchy and that they're not really in control and that they're just victims of white men's evils and shit. And I'm like, nah, there's a lot of white women that participated in that shit willingly and believe in the system of white supremacy and reap the benefits. You know what I mean? And two things can be true at once. They could not like the institution of slavery, but still benefit from the institution of slavery and not really challenge it. Because number one, you could argue, how would they challenge it? And then number two, that they still benefited from it and they still like the benefits of it. It just fucked with their conscience a little bit, a little bit. Right. And it's kind of like what I see from white women. But what I see more recently from white women is white women are trying to distance themselves from the evils of white men. All that. I was watching a video the other day where a white guy, he was talking about, he went down he called it the red pill, like alt-right pipeline. And, basically he was, what did he say? He said, it got to a point where the shit was just too mean spirited, like mixed with conservatism and all that shit. The shit was too mean spirited. And I said that before. I used that exact phraseology. I said, this shit is too mean spirited. It's so cringe, like how you have all these white people running around, seeing themselves as Christian and everything they do is not Christian. Like they are the worst advertisers. White people are the worst advertisers for Christianity ever. You know what I mean? But Cap gave me some insights because, he kind of infiltrated some of these white churches and he started going because, he was a Jehovah's Witness and went all the way down to all the levels and read, all the books and everything else like that. So he's not the one to fuck with when it comes to scripture and shit. You know what I mean? But he walked away from it because he recognized how much it was bullshit and how much of a manipulated tool it was. But he wanted to understand how white people view Christianity. And when white people view Christianity, they view Christianity, number one, is white Jesus, right? Like they're going to make Jesus white. Even if you want to, you go with he's from the Middle East, so he should look Middle Eastern. He should look like the very people that they like to call sand niggers. He looks like the very people that are getting bombed right now in Gaza, right? That's what Jesus, most likely look like. I know the black Israelites are going to jump. No, Jesus was a black man with dreadlocks. I know that they're going to tell me that. I'm not here to have that fucking argument. Okay. But I'm saying, let's go with the, okay, he's a Middle Eastern man. I'm going to go with the idea he looked like a Middle Eastern. Okay. Not like somebody, who was from the Netherlands. Okay. Or somebody who's from France. Okay. He looked like a Middle Eastern, right? Like I make the joke, Jesus wouldn't even make it through the airport in America. Jesus would get tackled by ICE. Okay, and these people run around screaming about how fucking Christian they are, right? And I was watching a clip of it's not even a clip, it was a post from Legion of Men, and I can't stand, keep us out of your fucking mouths with this fake care, right? So you see this shit where the white people, they'll make a post and first off, it's always 1350 every other day of the week. 1350, the blacks, they can't live amongst us. They not civilized, da-da-da-da-da. The only time they show concern for black people are when some black Christians somewhere are getting slaughtered. They care about their Christianity. They care about their Christianness, but they don't give a fuck about their blackness. You know what I mean? They're so they're they hate black people, but they're trying to vicariously use black bodies and black death to act like they're being attacked because they're Christian too. And we don't even worship in the same churches. As Martin Luther King identified a long time ago, 12 o'clock on Sunday is the most segregated time, in America, because white people go to white churches, black people go to black churches. We don't fuck with each other. That's why I look at black people in Christianity. I look at y'all like y'all some fools, but that's just me. Okay. You want to put Christianity, before, blackness, that shit just doesn't make any damn sense to me. It's like, if a black person is conservative, y'all will jump up and down and you'll be like, how can you align yourselves with the conservative party? And you're black. I'm sitting there looking at y'all thinking the same thing. How can you align yourself with the white Christians when the white Christians are some of the most racist motherfuckers ever? These are the same people. These are the same people. Right? But what I see is see, like I said before, without going too deep in all the rehashing and everything else. This is the first time in a very long time that white men they feel that they're losing power. Okay. They drank the Kool-Aid. They thought that they were in a club that they're not a part of when it comes to the white elites. White elites don't give a fuck about them. It's capitalism. It's, increase my bottom line. Okay. How do I increase my bottom line? I get rid of employees. Okay. And see, white men, they're not used to this. So, and instead of, again, because they keep aspiring and want to be a white elite, instead of focusing on the white elites, they focus on, it's a cultural war. Oh, it's the LGBTQ. Oh, it's Black Lives Matter. That's what the problem is. It's not because, these white elites are cutting jobs. Right. It's not because of the games that are being played in corporate America, going back to Tim Gurner and what he said, the Australian real estate guy that talked about there needs to be more pain in the economy and let these proletariat know who's in charge and who's the boss. They're making too many demands. What do you mean quiet quitting? We'll show you quiet quitting. Cut the power, cut the water off. And that's essentially, what they've done. You see, and so white men, they're freaking out. See, the beauty of being a black man in America and being at the bottom and whatnot, people, they talk they shit, or whatever. Right. But we're used to the furnace. right? We're used to, the negative ways we've been put down. We've never had a positive identity in this country, right? Even when in the past you could argue that when there was more intact communities, those black communities that got burnt down and everything, even when in the past, we had a lot more things going on. We've never had a positive reputation. White men have always had a positive reputation. They've been on easy fucking mode. Some people might argue, well, what about slavery and everything? And they got to feel guilty, about that. I'm like, that's accurate. I don't know what your problem with that is. That's accurate, right? You either were a slaver or you're a white man who's the beneficiary of slavery. I mean, we gonna just sit there and deny that white privilege exists? Even when white men make arguments, they highlight the fact that white privilege exists. They don't even realize that they're doing it. Oh, you blacks, you live in the ghetto. White privilege. Black people were redlined out of living in the fucking suburbs, redlined out of economic opportunities. Right. And then, like this whole thing, like in the clip where he brought up the whole, they're going to be single moms. That's like white men's thing. Like, you're going to be a single mom, if you get with a black guy. A lot of people want to like try to push back on. I don't push back on that. I'm like, what do you expect in such an unequal society? They try to make a moral character like argument. Again, let me see white men hold families down, in the next coming couple of years without gainful employment. I bet you your divorce rate's already like 45 to 50%. Like this whole argument, like white men aren't creating single moms. No, you guys start out the right way. More of you start out the right way because you have resources. You probably got some gainful employment. You got family support. You got people making down payments for you to get a house because white people have multi-generational wealth and trust and all other type of shit. Not every white person, but way more white people than black people. That's not even debatable. Black people came out of slavery with nothing but the clothes on their back. So white people were able and allowed to build wealth primarily through real estate that black people were not able to participate in. That's the whole thing with that little clip of those young white men that were arguing with the boomers. Like, the motherfuckers sitting up there bragging about, my family, they bought a house for $50,000 and such, and now it's worth, $4.8 million. Like, they're like, exactly, motherfucker. Like, yeah, black people didn't get to participate in that. And that money that white people were able to make through the equity in their home, they could take out business loans, they could send, family members to college, send them to law school, all of the type of shit that added to the family wealth. So when white guys are like, hee hee ha ha, black men create single moms, I'm like, why would it be any other way when you have those economic problems? Now, again, I wish there was more sexual discipline and black men wouldn't throw money out and say, that doesn't matter, because there's a lot of coping mentalities that go on in the black community with black men and black women when it comes to operating and functioning in poverty. A lot of people are like, hey, the system is fucked up. They're racist. This is what they did. And that's not going to stop me from moving forward in life. But I'm like, Mom, like the bills don't stop. You know what I mean? Like you live in a capitalist society, you're going to need resources. And then it only hits them when their child is talking bad about them. Like that documentary, that PBS documentary with the white kids, that they're not even the white kids, just the kids in general that were in poverty because they had a white family and black families. And the kids were talking about money. So again, that whole raising kids without money, I am totally against that. But trying to make these direct comparisons between the white men and, we raise our kids. Motherfucker, you should. You got the resources, or you've long had the resources. I never understand these sort of moral, characterization type of arguments. You know what I mean? Who's the bigger dickhead? The person who can't do the right thing because they don't have the tools to do the right thing, or the person who is in the position to do the right thing, they just simply choose not to? They just simply choose not to. Again, tell me why 38% of firstborn white children are born out of wedlock. Why the fuck is that happening at all when white people disproportionately have more wealth than black people? Answer me that question. Y'all can't answer me that question. Answer me the question. So they're always trying to make these like moral character arguments. Like that's like their go-to, right? Like to point to like negative statistics about black males, which only speak to the inequality of the system. But instead, they make it like, no, black people, they're morally inferior, and their culture is such and such a way, and blah blah blah. Like they make all these stupid ass arguments. I'm so like laser focused on these like sort of tactics and whatnot. And again, going back to the white women, like he's bitching about white women wanting to, they're getting with black guys. Look, I don't know what. Look, if I look at the numbers and I look at what's on paper, freaking like the black men, freaking marrying white women doesn't even scratch the surface. When it comes to black men having sex with white women, I don't know, double the number, triple the number of like versus the marriage. Because obviously you got to be in a relationship, you got to date in order to be the marriage. I'm saying triple the number of dating if you want to say that 3 times the amount of black men that are dating white women as opposed to being married to white women, right? Well, make it 5 times more. I don't know what you want to do. But I'm saying there aren't enough black men to go around. Again, you got to look at the simple fact that, overall, it's the 87% of black men are married to black women. When it comes to newlyweds, only a quarter of black men who get married, right, which is only 30% of the black male population. Right. So out of the black male population, only 30% of those guys get married. And then a quarter of that 30% marry outside the race. You know what I mean? So this whole notion that like black men are just stealing all the white women, like, I don't know where they're getting this number, but I think it has to do like perception is reality. And so like when they go on social media and they're looking at social media, social media would definitely think that the black men are out here just slaying everything. The women, the way that they show their lust and affection, for black men on these like street corners when they do the little street interviews. Black guys or white guys? Black guys or white guys? What do you prefer? And the women are like, I like my chocolate men. Oh, my black kings. All this weird shit, cringy statements. Right? I prefer black men. I mean, you got women in fucking Europe. This bitch come on there, got a fucking thick ass accent talking about, I prefer black men. And now, this part, goes to the whole, Christopher, what's his name? What's his name? The guy that did the video, the Xenogenesis. Christopher Grandison. He just dropped another video talking about, the whole, black men, being sexually desirable, but, socially, their social standing essentially being inept, right? Because like, that's the way that white men, I don't really like the whole black men are just innately more masculine. I don't get into all that, I mean, our melanin content, they can't resist the melanin. I don't like all that. We just got it like that. I've seen masculine white guys, fit white guys, white guys with full beards and shit looking like Vikings and shit. There's masculine white men out there. I wouldn't say that there aren't masculine looking white men out there. I think the problem is that there's a lot of white men like this guy that made this video, who looks to be like 55 years old with gray hair. And it's like, again, this is one of the reasons why I want to bow out, of these gender conversations. Cause like what I look like being 50 plus sitting around talking about, gender war and fucking, what women are or aren't on my nuts or something, like as though I'm in the dating game or I'm in the dating pool with 20-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a point where you come in, you say what you got to say, you're in that window, and then you got to step the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? And whatever happens, fuck after 35 is like fucking potluck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, but we live in a world now where people were, by 30, they definitely owned a home. Now it's like, this shit is just all up in the air. I mean, it's completely fucked up. right? So everybody has this delayed adulthood, right? So people, it's like when Jay-Z was like, 30 is the new 20. Like, no, nigga, it's not the new 20. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm trying to think what else. There's something else I wanted to talk about with this whole situation. The mean-spiritedness. I feel like white women are trying to get away from white men and their shit. I warned, I said it, I told white men, I'm like, these Nazis are going to fuck up your reputation. They're going to fuck your shit all the way up. This shit that Trump is doing, all this mean-spirited shit. You know what I mean? Like, again, instead of developing game, instead of going to the gym, instead of having muscles, instead of doing all the things that apparently black men are doing right that attract all different various races of all women of different various races, you just try to force everything. Because you attack the problem from the wrong end. Your problem is that white elites, have created a society where they convinced you that all of the social programs and everything that benefits the people is going to lazy black folks. So you guys, over the last, freaking 50, 60 years, you guys voted against all of that shit. Okay? You want to blame the left for, feminism and women, entering the workforce. Women entering the workforce, I don't think is the main problem. I think the main problem is the fact that you don't make enough money. And the money that you would need in order to support, a family or at least be the chief breadwinner is just, it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So to where now you essentially have parity, with your woman, and it's 50-50 and you don't like that. Right. And then some of you are even worse off than that, where you're straight broke, and you don't have anything to offer. The guy that made the video, I don't know if he's British or not. I can't remember what his accent was. I think he's British or Australian or something like that. And I'm like, the UK's money is all type of fucked up. Their shit is all fucked up. Again, because of the way that late stage capitalism, works. I looked up, again, about Poland and how, all the Eastern European men are coming into the UK to work those jobs. They're getting paid less than what UK workers would get paid domestically. So they're undercutting their wages, right? And that's creating, other issues, right? Because the capitalism, the businesses, the banks, like, they're still moving forward with their shit. But the white men, they don't got the money like that. So then again, what happens? What goes on? What kills me is what he's not asking himself. Why are the white women fucking with black guys? If black guys don't have any money, if black guys have no social status, why are they fucking with black guys? It's just because of their physique, big dicks, and swag? There's got to be more to it. See, he's not being self-reflective about why he's seeing white women fuck around with black guys. Could it be because your personality sucks? Right? Could it be because you've been doing all this mean-spirited shit? All this, we must stop women from having abortions. Now, that's more of an American thing, but I'm just saying, some of these conversations are like cross-continental. You got like the white Europeans, they're having their like neo-Nazi shit with the black American, what am I saying? With the white American Nazi groups and everything. And so like they're trying to, this overarching cross-continental, white supremacy, type of movement. So anywhere that they see that there's interracial dating going on, they start freaking out and because, all of the white women, it's the blacks, they're taking all the white women. No, regardless of how many black men are getting with white women, which is a drop in the bucket, you all are not fucking enough and producing babies. And you're not fucking enough and producing babies because you as a white man don't get paid enough to support a family. So you don't feel comfortable to start a family, and neither does she. She doesn't feel comfortable in starting a family. So why is she getting with black guys? I don't know. Maybe they're more fun. They're more fucking charismatic. They're more enjoyable. They know how to talk to women. You know, all the skills that you neglected because you were running around talking about, I'm educated. I'm smart. I'm a white guy. I'm hardworking. I'm working 9 to 5. Right? You're like not even realizing how corny he sounds. I'm like, do you have anything else going on? Like, and see, this is, I told y'all, educated lames went through this shit. We were told in order to stay out of the streets, in order to not be a thug or a gangbanger, we were told go to school, get an education, graduate, and then you'll have Kerry Washingtons wrapped around the block. That is what we were told. And a lot of us went that route. Those were the lies that our mothers told us. Okay, that women were into perfect gentlemen and shit like that. That's not the case. It's not female nature. And white men have their own version of that. You know, well, I'm upstanding and I'm a choir boy and blah, 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 right? They did all that bullshit. You know, like I said in my last video, they did all that. And they're just bewildered why the white women are not moved by that, right? And then you got like other things, you know, the media, black men coming into the, you know, white people's living rooms on television, sports, entertainment, you know, they get to see, you know, black men and how they move. Like I was asking, Media Man did a post and I was asking AI, I was like, why is it if there's white supremacy and there's racism, right? Going back to that OK Cupid study. I'm like, why is it that you see more pairings of, or no, not more pairings. White women are the most open because I think when it came to all the races like Asians, Hispanics, and what was the other one? I think it was just Asian and Hispanics, and obviously black women. We know about black women, but when it comes to like the Asians and the Hispanics, they rated black men lower than white women did. White women rated black men higher than both Hispanic women and, you know, Asian women. And I already know what a lot of that is about. You know, first off, everybody's chasing whiteness. All the non-white people are chasing whiteness. They're trying to get the whiteness. The Hispanic women, mejorar la raza, all that bullshit. You know, with the Asians, you know, they got the skin bleaching and everything else. And, you know, see white people as the dominant members of society. Just like that woman that asked J.D. Vance the question, like, bitch, we already tried to tell you what time these motherfuckers was on. And she's up there, yeah, but we came here legally, and what you're saying is hurting my feelings. You know, like, just stupid ass. Like, I'm done with the other minorities because black people done already told them they don't want to fucking listen. Fuck them. Okay, y'all gonna have to find out the hard way. Okay, just like Vivek Ramaswamy, just like fucking, you know, Patrick Bet David. You motherfucker, you're Iranian. You're not white. It doesn't matter that you married a white woman. You know what I mean? But in any event, I'm saying. So you have that aspect of like everybody wants to be white. And then you also have the aspect of black Americans have been in this country the longest. There is a familiarity that white women have with black men, white American women have with black men, that it can be argued that other groups, they come here as immigrants. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you live close to a black neighborhood, like, if you go to I don't know, freaking New York, you go to North Jersey or something like that, a lot of Hispanic people, and you'll see a lot of black Hispanic relationships. That shit like happens on the regular, but that's because they live in close proximity to one another. But black people and white people in this country have been living in close proximity to one another for a very, very, very long time. White women are not unfamiliar, with black men. They're not unfamiliar with what a good-looking black man is, what an unattractive black. They're not unfamiliar with that shit. Where other groups that are foreign and have different cultures and everything else like that. Because I've seen it. I've seen that shit, especially like when Indian men see black American men with like a blonde white woman, them motherfuckers lose it. You know what I mean? Because they think that they know that they're brown, so they're close to blackness, so they got like an inferiority complex about that. But they're like, but we're a model minority and we get good grades and we tend to be, doctors and all this other shit, right? And so they're like, I should get the white woman. That's how they think, So all like the white woman is held up as like the standard of beauty and shit, and they think that they should get white women over, a black American man, not realizing that despite the fact that white supremacy exists, there's way more familiarity between a white American woman and a black American man than a Indian dude from the freaking Gujarat. You know what I mean? So they kind of get fucked up about that. So there's that level of familiarity. But white men need to ask themselves the questions. Okay, well, why does it go on then? I think when it comes to the other races, they're not as threatened because other races tend to, marry their own. They tend to marry out less, right? Because their communities haven't been disrupted. They have stronger patriarchal communities. This is what I'm saying. Like, when I look at the white men, I'm like, you go in there, you fuck up the black community, which makes black men and black women having relationships untenable. You know what I mean? And then you complain about the interracial relationships, that are going on. So you got black men that get frustrated with black women, and then you got white women that get frustrated with your white ass. And then they link up, and then you're mad that they're fucking, period. That's why they running around mug sharts. Oh, if you go over there, we don't want you, this, that, and the third, right? Which again, it's funny when it comes to white supremacy, because if you're going to disqualify white women because they fucked the black guy, you're going to lose white women on the basis of attrition, hardcore. Like you're just gonna keep losing them. Like, hey, here's a white woman. She doesn't have any kids. She's never been married. Yeah, but she was with a black guy, so she doesn't count. She's out. I'm like, okay, so that's one white woman checked off the box. So like, it's just like you're just gonna lose white women on the basis of attrition. With that style of argument. But I'm just making this video to highlight like how much we live rent-free, in these men's minds. I mean, just completely rent-free. They're just always talking about black peen and, who's fucking with the black, what do you want to call it? Who's fucking with the, with white women, and why are white, because the video is really not about black men. I mean, he called us critters and it's like, oh, you're going to be a single mom. All that's meant to scare white women off. Like, we're letting you know what we think about you dealing with these blacks. A lot of white women don't fucking give a shit. They don't care. Your shit is like, and it's crazy to sit there and talk about like white men and hard work and how sanctimonious you are and your religiosity and your Christianity and all this other shit. But yet everybody but you can see how fucking evil you are. Like, everybody but you can see your vampiric nature. And I wonder how much, like, there's just white women that they like, I don't want to affiliate with that. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm done with that. Especially with the way that you try to strong arm their bodily autonomy. You know what I mean? Like that was not a thorough move. I'm like, so instead of challenging the white elites to pay you more so that you can justify and have stronger patriarchal Judeo-Christian households, instead of doing that, you go, nah, we're going to make these bitches have our babies by making it impossible for them to get an abortion. I'm like, hey, like, I forget who said it. But it always kills me when men try to like really abuse women, because I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, you got to go to sleep sometime. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if y'all remember Lorena Bobbitt, you know what I mean? But she chopped that dude's penis off in his sleep. I'm like, women could fuck you all the way up in your sleep. Pour acid on you. You know what I mean? Pour boiling, scalding hot water on you. Give you second and third degree burns and shit. I mean, they could fuck you all the way up. You know what I mean? So like, when it comes to y'all thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna force her to do this, and I'm gonna force her to do that, and she can't do anything because I'm a man. I'm like, motherfucker, you gotta go to sleep at some point. You gotta go to sleep at some point. I mean, shit, she could grab a revolver, empty that shit in your fucking head while you fucking sleeping and shit. Go watch them. What was it? One of them TV shows, like the First 48 and shit. Go watch them shows. Or the other murder mystery shows. The shit where the fucking there's always that white guy, the movie white guy in a small town. You know what I mean? That shit, right? They're always telling them stories. Everything was peaceful and quiet. It's always peaceful and quiet wherever white people are, right? It was a small town that was peaceful and quiet until one treacherous day, right? And then friggin', the white wealthy woman gets pissed off, and then you find out that the white dude was doing some shit, and then she hired a hitman and fucking had him killed. You know what I mean? And all of it's being recorded and shit like that, But I love you, Veronica. I hate you. You know what I mean? Fucking her and the new boyfriend and fucking stabbing him to death. He in the background. Oh. I don't know. Y'all got some shit going on in the white community. Y'all got some shit, as we know, with these mass shooters that decide to go and shoot up churches with little small precious white children in them. Right? I don't understand that. We don't do that. Like, we don't do that in the black community. Do you understand the level of punishment that any black man would get in going into a place where there's black children and doing some shit like that? I mean, he would get it. He would, first off, he probably wouldn't even make it to trial. If he did make it to trial, they're going to get him in the jail, right? Because black men are in the jail. The whole community would just come down with such a vengeance. There's no safe space in the black community for no shit like that. That doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Gangsters, street thugs, they got kids too. This is one of the reasons why you don't hear stories about teachers getting fucked up in the inner city. Because again, little Jamarcus's favorite teacher, Jamarcus's father, he's in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, Mrs. I don't know, Karpinski, she got beat up by somebody. They robbed her. Motherfucker, like, what? They robbed who? Man, please, man. Them motherfuckers will find him in a short period of time. The people talking about unsolved mysteries in the black community. That's because it's street justice. Cops still, this case was unsolved. Yeah, that's because the motherfucker is in a ditch somewhere. And you just haven't found the ditch somewhere. And by the time you find it, all you're going to find is a bleached skull. That's why. But, I'm just telling y'all, we live rent free in these people's minds. They all look the same. They're either too old, don't work out. They all, friggin' the Ben Shapiro types, the Richard Spencer types, the Charlie Kirk types, the Steven Crowder types, the what if alt history types. Like, what do all these guys have in common? Okay, do they look like, alpha males? Do they look like we was Vikings and shit? Right? Do they look like they could fuck some shit up? No, they look like nerdy kids that hang out in the fucking library. That's why they're always running around screaming about who's got high IQs and shit. These are the white version of educated lames. And they're mad because they bought into and drank the Kool-Aid of all that, I'm an upstanding white man. Why don't the white women want me? I don't understand. Like that's what they're on. I've been peeping this shit for a while. I'm upstanding. I go to church. I'm a choir boy. I'm personally responsible. Why would you get with those black guys? They're not responsible. They'll make you a single mom. How do you choose them over me? No self-reflection. None. This is what happens when white boys, they buy into their own hype. They drink their own Snapple. You know what I'm saying? Never get high off your own supply. White men have gotten high off of their own supply. And they believe in their own hype. to the point that they're not self-reflective about them having any character flaws. The simple fact that they go and they shoot up the schools all the fucking time, and you got just a ton of freaking white man shooters and shit like that, that should tell you that there's something wrong going on with white men. There's something wrong going on. I don't know what that is, but there's something wrong going on with them. There's something wrong with them going on with the shooting up the schools. There's something wrong with them going on, when it comes to them fucking with the children, right? I mean, y'all gonna get a death blow when it comes to when these Epstein files come out. And then not only that, this is even the proletariat white men. These are the best of the best of the best of the best white men. Y'all are going to be cooked. Your white man's reputation is going to be cooked. So let me get this right. You can't not touch the children. You can't not kill the children and shoot up the schools, right? You can't do that, right? You're trying to strong arm and control women's reproduction, like women don't have a choice. Like you're just trying to tie them to a wall and turn them into incubators and shit. I'm like, do you not see what you're doing? You don't see it? You don't see it? That's why I said, I'm like, yo, I ain't trying to twist a sister's arm. If sister jumps up and says, black man, you ain't this and you ain't that and da-da-da-da-da. Hey, I'm not trying to twist. It's the evil patriarchy, misogynoir. I'm like, no, ain't gonna be no misogynoir over here. See, what she's going to accuse me of is abandonment because I'm going to walk the fuck away. I'm like, oh, no, you said rape and pillage. I can't get the fuck up out of here and turn a key fast enough. You see, because I will not be over here being accused of some shit that I didn't do and some shit that I didn't plan on doing. And especially, when we talk about the whole baby situation, I'm like, chick, even if I had fucked you, I wouldn't have done what he did. I wouldn't have got you pregnant. So I'm like, please do not come over here trying to put that nonsense on me. No. I will walk the fuck away and put some distance between us so that accusation does not fall on me. You see, but white men, y'all think we're saving civilization. Tucker Carlson and freaking Nick Fuentes sitting up there. We're doing something for the white civilization. Did white women agree to that? Did they co-sign that? And then it completely ignoring whether white women changed their minds. Now, granted, we also got to acknowledge that we're talking about two different generations, here, right? Because a lot of what you see with the younger generation and how they get down is different from the older generation of white women. The very women that this guy, if he's not in a relationship, should be dating. Like they should, 55-year-old white women? I'm like, when were they running around getting with brothers? Like, when the fuck was that a thing? I got to remember ages and decades and shit. Maybe in the 90s, right? Because if you're 55 years old, your prime was in the 90s, right? Early 90s, right? I'm like, IR relationships back then, really? I don't really see that. What's going on with the Gen Z? I'm not even a part of that. I can't tell you all the details that's going on with that. But I see these little videos on TikTok and Instagram with the 19-year-olds and everything, and how open they are to interracially dating, and particularly the white women. And the white men, man, they do not like that. Especially not even the young white men. The young white men, they're just, the young white men are really lost in terms of their, identity. Because in one breath, they're being told you're a white man, this country was built for you, and you should be able to have, white privilege. And the thing is, I feel like the white guys, because I there's a white guy I work out with at the gym. He told me point blank. He was like, nah, they're losers. He just said point blank. He's like, nah, they're losers. They don't You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, because I asked him, I said, how come white guys that look like you, I don't see them in these spaces? They don't look like you. He got a back, he got a big ass chest and shit like that. He looks like he can fuck shit up. You know what I mean? He's over there, benching, probably like 275, like it's nothing, repping the shit, right? Big dude, right? He can squat. I know he can squat because I can bench more than he can. I can bench more than him, but he can squat more than me. Because I know he's squatting like 500. He'll have multiple plates on that bitch. And he just said, they losers. They losers because he don't have no problem. He got one of the baddest bitches in the gym right now. Right now. Just thick ass, bodacious looking white chick who, I don't say nothing to her. She looks like the type that was getting with black guys back in the day or at some point because she got an ass on her. You know what I mean? But she fucking with him now. And I'm like, yeah, but the dude, he masculine. But the white man, when you sit there and you look at all these guys on 4chan, Reddit, all this other shit, you know what I mean? They don't look like shit. You know what I mean? They don't look like, that guy on Instagram. Go to the fucking gym. Go to the fucking gym. Go to the fucking gym. Like, they don't look like that. They look just frail and nerdy and weak, and then just add age to that. And then you get these middle-aged white guys that don't, there's nothing masculine about them. They're just whining about either some the past, or they're whining about like the former glory of white men in the past, or just whining about how they should be in a particular spot. I'm like, yo, you haven't put in any of the work in any of the areas in which women are even remotely interested in. Again, the very argument I'm giving them is the very argument that we've already had in the black community when it comes to educated lames versus street thugs. There's a lot of things that educated lames could learn from niggas in the streets. And vice versa when we get into other subjects. But that whole downplaying, game and swag and just thinking like you just supposed to, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that downplaying that, like you don't need that. I don't need any of that. I have stability, but you don't have stability anymore. You see, what do women pick when things become equalized? Because, before you could be like, yes, I'm a white man and I have stability and I have the privilege and I have the complexion for the connection, and I just bought this house and all I have to do is choose a white woman and move her in with me. Okay, how many young white men are in that type of position? I'll wait. How many young white men can be on their feet at 27, 28 years old today, buy a house and move Becky right on in and play the patriarchal? See, it's crickets now. It's crickets now. You see, you have failed. You failed to maintain your society. You failed in that regard. Truth be told, it's the white elites who failed you, but you failed to police the shit and make sure that they ensured that, I'm using finger quotes, air quotes, promise to you guys. You failed. So now you have nothing to offer. So all of your, I'm a white man, white supremacy, all that shit, it don't mean anything. It doesn't have any meaning. It has zero meaning. What is it? Okay, you're a white supremacist. And where's your house at? Okay, you're a white supremacist. And where's your decent car at? Okay, you're a white supremacy. And where is your financial and economic stability? Where's it at? See, white supremacy used to come with economic and financial stability. Now you don't have that. So this is where we get into where you're trying to ride the wave of, well, white women should want to get with me and choose me because of what? Because of past events? Oh, the black men already tried that in the black community. That does not work. Where are you right now? Again, that clip that I did, I'll put it in the description box. And if you guys want to know, because people keep asking like, where is the community post? It's on post. When you go to the page, there's videos. Then it says like post, and then I think there's another one that says like community or something like that. You go to post, and where it says post, you'll see the damn community tab. I post shit on there all the time, just regular shit. It should just automatically come up if you hit the bell icon. But some of y'all y'all not hitting the bell icon, so you're not getting the notification, regularly like that. I put all type of shit up there. But nah, white men, black men, we already been through it. We already know what it is. All this shit with doubling down on religion. Whenever white men are broke, or any man, whenever they're broke, they always try to replace it with religion. They try to use that as a shaming tactic and psychological leverage against women to try to get them to fall in line. Well, I'm a Christian, so therefore you should get with me. You still don't have a house. You still can't support a family. Right? You still can't make her feel comfortable and whatnot. And then again, now when it comes to feminism and women in the workplace and everything, because they try to take that away too, I'm like, that's not going to go over very well. Already took over the reproductive rights. Now you're going to try to take away their jobs and careers too. They will resent you like a motherfucker. They will go out there and get impregnated by a black guy just to spite your ass. I'm like, keep fucking around. Keep fucking around. Again, your beef is with the white elites, but instead you're mad that you don't have the resources to attract the resources or any of the other skills to attract the white women that you want. And so you get mad at white women, or you get mad at black men for them even remotely interacting, even though, again, it's a very small number. You guys keep doing this coward shit where you don't take the smoke where the smoke belongs. You guys keep doing this coward shit. I don't understand. I don't understand like this whole situation. You keep doing the coward shit. You keep going out here and being mad at everything else. Keep misdiagnosing the problem. Keep being mad at everything else out here. That what Trump did with the whole, this whole thing with the SNAP benefits and again, mean-spirited shit. And y'all are the party that runs around talking about we Christians. We Christians, like Jesus wasn't walking around feeding the poor and shit. But the idea of a welfare queen, that stops you. But the idea of Republican inside trading, that doesn't stop you. That doesn't make you pause. So, I look at this. All I can say to brother is like, I'm just like, stay strapped up. Like my whole thing is I don't really, I hear all this. I pay attention to it. It's not like I'm going to do anything preemptively. My whole thing is, I just keep that fire on me. That's all, when it comes to this. Now I'm a big enough dude where I don't have to really, I don't deal with that type of negative shit going on. I don't deal with it. I really don't deal with it. But I recognize that these white guys, as they're losing and slipping out of their, comfortable position that they've essentially always had, from previous generations, that you're going to see a bunch of crash outs. And it's only a matter of time before one of them go and lash out on black people. And typically not even black men. They love to shoot up churches full of old black women and whatnot. They don't pull up on the block. They do not pull up on the block. You know what I mean? So the sad part is, and again, they never direct their anger at where it needs to go. So let me get this right. You're mad because white elite men don't pay you enough. And therefore, you lack skills and personality in order to attract the white women that you want. You used to have the resources. You don't have that. So you're mad at the white woman for getting with the black guy. And you're mad at the black guy for getting with the white woman. And then your solution is to walk into a church full of old black women and shoot the church up. That was your master plan. That's your master plan. You know, because you know, Mr. Shut Up the AME Church, he said that black men rape white women. That's what he said. Black men rape white women when they asked him why he was inspired, you know, to do what he did. Right? And I'm like, black men don't need to rape white women. White women want to sit on black peen just on the strength of nothing. Like I don't get that. But anyway, but then his solution was, I'm going to shoot up a black church full of senior citizens. Huh? That don't even make any sense. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you just got to keep the fire on you at all times. I don't care whether it's a club. I don't care whether it's anywhere where black people are congregating. That's what y'all need to do. Okay? That's what y'all need to do. Because clearly you can see, I mean, what's with the Conan the Barbarian shit, you know, in this video? Like, you're going to ride. First off, this guy sounds like he's in the fucking UK or something like that. So I'm like, you ain't got no firepower over there. Secondly, you know, he's 55 years old, looking ass, right? These guys are out of shape, right? They don't train, right? And they talking, and see, this is how these white people get put on their ass. I need to upload another video. I'm gonna upload another video piggybacking on this, and I'm just gonna let the other dude, OG, it's like OG Matt something, whatever. I'm gonna let him lay it out if I got enough freaking space, because I don't have my other computer here, so I gotta go back and use my old computer, which didn't have enough fucking space. I'm gonna see if I can upload that, because you know, when you grab a screen capture, the screen capture takes up a lot more space than if you could just download it. I wish people would just allow the videos to be downloadable, but they don't. But anyway, he, you know, I mean, he laid the shit out about that flagpole situation with that white female Karen. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I'm trying to tell you white people, like, all this shit, all this you mad at the world because your money's fucked up, that you gonna go out here and you just gonna run up on black people, and that black people aren't going to fucking respond. You gonna get that Carmelo Anthony treatment. I'm telling you. Y'all out here just thinking, you know, y'all think shit is sweet. You think it's the 1930s or something. Y'all really do believe that. You believe that you control black bodies, and that anything that you mad about or that you upset about or frustrated or irritated about, that you just get to walk up and just take that shit out on a black person, and the black person just going to take it. I'm like, it ain't going to go down like that. It ain't going to go down like that. You know what I'm saying? I heard these HST rounds, they burn when they hit you. You know what I mean? It ain't going to go down like that. I don't know what y'all are thinking. I really don't know. You know, but y'all need to cut that bullshit out. All that, you know, I'm mad at life. I'm mad that shit isn't going my way, so I'm going to take it out on the nearest black person I can find. I wouldn't do that if I were you, because y'all ain't ready. I'm telling you, y'all be out here freaking, you know, writing checks with your mouth that your body can't cash. I'm trying to tell you. I keep seeing this shit all on the internet. It pops up every few days. There's always some emboldened white person out there that ends up getting fucked up. You know, and I told you, those 55-year-old gray hair white men, they're the worst ones, man. They're the worst ones, because they're rolling into their twilight years and they feel their masculinity draining from their body, and they want to be able to assert themselves and tell themselves that they still got it. And for some reason in their head, they're like, oh, if I beat this nigger up, oh, that's going to make me feel more like a man. And then, you know what I mean? They like that white man that was in that Mississippi club, you know, and the black people, you know, he was in there and they said he was cool. But then, you know, he put his hands on the bouncer, you know, when they said, hey, it's 2:00, you got to go. And they dragged his ass out of there and they did the Macarena on his head. You know, and then the media tried to cover it like, oh my God, he was viciously, savagely attacked by a pack of niggers. Oh my God. You know, like all that shit. Same shit that they try to do in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear, like, y'all really don't understand. Black people are looking for a legitimate reason to whoop your motherfucking ass. Yeah, like, y'all have no, I mean, all the shit that black people have gone through in this country, all just the history of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're throwing punches with the spirit of our ancestors behind those punches. You know what I'm saying? Like we're throwing kicks that are charged from the fucking heavens, filled with centuries of fucking black anger and resistance and shit. I'm telling you, don't want these feet. You don't want these feet are being charged up like a goddamn freaking Dragon Ball Z spirit bomb. We're dropping spirit bombs on your ass. Like, I don't know why y'all don't get it. It's the same thing I say when I see these white guys in the gym, you know what I mean? And I'm spotting the guy and I'm like, you know, he's a young guy. I'm like, okay, like, you ready? Lift it up off the bench. And, you know, he just doesn't have any fucking anger. There's no anger there. You know, because he's living this comfortable lifestyle. Y'all express your anger in real different ways. You know, you express your anger like, I don't know, in like a chat room or something. You know what I mean? You express your anger in like cursing somebody out or something. Like I don't know. Y'all don't really express your anger in a way that jeopardizes your body. Which again, which is why you all always go out here and engage in soft targets. You never express your anger in a way that jeopardizes your body. I've noticed that type of shit. I've really noticed that type of shit when it comes to these white men, you know, with their bullshit. And see, the thing is a lot of y'all have really fully demonstrated how cowardly you are. You know, so y'all just need to cut that shit the fuck out. You know what I mean? And stop thinking about black peen all the time. You know what I'm saying? Every white woman out here does not want, you know, a black man. I mean, damn. You know what I mean? If you can't get a white woman in 2025, that is not a black man's fault. And black men are not going to make that our problem, you know, because, you know, you saw a TikTok of a white woman being on top of a black man, and then all of a sudden that made you mad, that made you rage out. The only time I'll be on a white dude's side in this subject is when, like, the video where a black dude, I don't know who that dude was, but he used to go and do street interviews, and then he would, like, the white guy would be on a date with his girl, and he'd be like, rate me on a scale of 1 to 10, give me a kiss on the cheek, and the girl would actually give him a kiss on the cheek right in front of the boyfriend. I'm like, nah, you deserve to be hit with that. If the black dude got hit and then the white dude, and then the black dude was like, see, that was racist. I'm like, no, you was asking for that. You provoked that shit. That's the only time that I'm just like, you was doing too much. But other than that, you know what I mean? When y'all are sitting around and you got the microphone in these women's faces talking about, you know, oh, what do you prefer? What do you like? And we're not even there. Like, don't be trying to bring that shit back to us. If that's what she likes, that's what she likes. But don't try to bring that shit. We're not the one holding the mic. We're not the one holding the camera. We're not the one asking the question. We're not the one responding to the question. Ain't a black person to be found in the damn video clips. But yet somehow it's, these goddamn black people. These critters. I'm like, we got to all be all type of critters. I'm like, ain't this some shit? Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.
This is my first black boyfriend playset. He's so cool.
He listens, shares snacks, and even takes cute selfies.
He's the nicest.
Want to grab a latte?
My first black boyfriend playset. Joy
on the scene, diamond blingy whole screen. Checkerboard Louis V. I'm so fresh and so clean. Stuff them bands in my jeans, slap them 30s in them things. Pull the trigger, let it sing. Then go smoke a Russian cream.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where?
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!